Hello, my name is Matthew Jensen and I'm with Rapid View. Today's tech tip is going to be about changing light housings for cameras. The tools you'll need are a standard screwdriver, a torque screwdriver set to 0.26 Newton meters. You'll need some alcohol wipes, some paper towel, Molykote 111, and your camera. Before we get started, I want to cover a few tips. The first thing you need to know is that you're going to need ESD protection. You don't want to have any static discharge when you're opening up the camera and touching any circuit boards. Also, when you use your alcohol wipes, you're going to be using them on the metal and not on the plastic. The alcohol will eat away at the plastic and weaken it over time. So for the plastic lighthouse covering, you're going to want to use just water and your paper towels. When you change your light housing, the first thing you're going to do is wash it off with water and dry it with either a towel or compressed air. And you're going to take your standard screwdriver and remove your light housing. For this, we'll be using an Orpheus camera. This same procedure applies to Orions and to other versions of the Orpheus. When you remove your light housing, be aware of the LED and the insulation that's between the LED and the circuit board. You don't want to lose that or any of the screws that are loose in your light housing. As you change these, you'll change them either because they've become damaged, cracked, or scratched and reduce the amount of light that comes through them. If you notice that your O-ring is pinched or cut or has just become dry and flattened because of just long-term use, you'll want to change it at this time. We'll take an alcohol wipe. And wipe away any excess old grease that's on your board. If you have a new O-ring, you'll change it at this time, but first you're going to want to lubricate it with Molykote 111. Take a little bit of that, wipe it on the new O-ring, and press that down. You'll see the groove where the O-ring goes, so just make sure that's secure in there. If it's outside of the groove and you go to tighten down your light housing, you'll pinch your O-ring and that'll create leaks for air to escape. If necessary, add a little more grease. You don't want to have it overly greased so that it squeezes out the side, but you want to make sure that there's enough there that when you tighten your light housing, it's not going to have any dry spots. We'll take a piece of paper towel, wipe off the excess grease. Mostly this is going to be because of your insulation and your LED. The grease that's on your old light housing, you can clean that just for the sake of storage if you want to use this later as a backup, but you're going to make sure that your LED is cleaned off and then you'll put it in your new light housing. When you take out the insulation from your light housing, keep in mind which side is facing the LED. In this case, it's the pink side is going to be facing the LED. We'll put that back in, make sure it's not on or outside any of the edges. You don't want that to get pinched either. Then we'll go ahead and we'll place the new light housing on the camera. You'll want to have the light housing upside down so that the LED and the insulation don't fall out. Put your camera in place. There's some guide pins to let you line it up. And then we can take our screws, put them back in place. And we'll use our torque screwdriver to tighten them down. The torque setting on here, as I said, is 0.26 Newton meters. This allows us to get a seal that is tight enough to be airtight without being too tight as to crack the light housing just from it being overly compressed. When you go to tighten it up, you'll hear a click, and that lets you know that it is the proper torque spec. And that completes one of the light housings. You'll do the same thing for the opposite side, and then there's two more light housings, or in the case of an Orion, this will just be one piece that will be removed, but the process is the same for all of them. So again, the reason that you'll be changing these light houses is because they become cracked or damaged while inside of a pipe, or just scratched over time, and it reduces the amount of light that comes through. And that'll be it for today's Tech Tips. Thank you.